At this point, you and the client have agreed on an outcome. And you just mentioned that something that could be a real stressor on that is timeline. So if you have a really short timeline, or I guess this is also true of a really long timeline, people tend to forget things or let things meander. How do you ensure that throughout the process, you're referring to that original outcome goal and checking the work that you're doing against it? How do you stay focused on that?
What I do is a couple of things. The first thing is that every time we talk about that project or we have a meeting, I always invest 1 to 2 minutes talking about the why. Why are we doing this? What is the end goal? That helps solidify in all the stakeholders' minds why, but also the what. First thing is repetition, constantly reminding every person working on the project the why. What is the end goal? The second thing is that it's actually going away from this old Mad Men era style of like presenting the genius ideas to getting into this co-creative, sharing napkin sketches, whiteboards, having conversations, and giving them full access to all the research and everything that we're doing. At no point does the client feel surprised at what we're working on. Now, there is one tale of caution that I would bring up is that when you tend to get outcome focused and you get into the why, sometimes these conversations can have not only the stakeholders, but your own team begin to like overthink, and you want to stay away from overthinking stuff that can cause a lot of decision making fatigue. What I try to do is often remind all the stakeholders involved of the why and the what, but not get into overthinking, which leads to decision making fatigue and project fatigue.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. We have had similar experiences where, depending on the scope of the project that you're working on and how well understood the outcome is and the challenges to achieving that outcome, is you can see a lot of scope creep on projects where run into like it'd be cool if, or I'm not sure if we should do this one thing, so let's spec out three of them, three different variations. And staying focused on the outcome can be difficult for long running projects, I find, because you give yourself the space to think about more things and how the system as a whole interact, and then you kind of have to pull it back together and start cutting things out, knowing full well what you're getting rid of, but for the sake of staying on target on the outcome, which is sometimes uncomfortable, but you're really trying to make sure that at the end of the day, you can prove that you achieve that outcome.